and tender are her skies. Yes and no are the answers written in my true love's eyes.
Can you look something up for me? Yeah. It says 5 on it, and it's got stars around it. 5 with a bunch of stars around it. Yeah, and if you look, if you look at the back, it's got bars, like a harp or a shield or something. Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell. It should be around 1880s. I can't tell. No. Yeah. Yes. Yes, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, shield nickel. It's a shield. Okay. It's a shield nickel. All right. All right. All right. Bye. It's a shield nickel. 1860 to 1880. That's Robert Tyre. Robert Tyre lived here back in the 1890s, and he had a farm here. And you know, that poor guy, he was good. He had a decent life, but you know, this never should have happened to him. I'll tell you about it. Robert Tyre had a barn here, and he was a good guy, and he never had any kids, so he tried to adopt one. He had the money, he had the resources, and so he adopted a kid, a 5-year-old girl, and she actually got abducted, and he tried to find her, and that's it. That's all we know. That's it. That's the end of the story. We got to investigate that. So I need to metal detect this field, see what else I could find from Robert Tyre, who was here in 1890s, 1900, and then I'll get everything cleaned up, and we got to investigate this story. So let's detect. It's big and heavy, and it scrapes, and it's rounded. I think it might be an axe head. I think it is not an axe head. It is so wet and miserable out. Every time I dig a hole, it immediately fills up with water. So I gotta have to film this differently. number 1 is a heavy piece of lead. It's a cone shaped with a wire. I think it's a weight for a clock. Grandfather clock, maybe. Hole number 2. It looks like the cutest little hatchet. Although it's kind of thin to be a hatchet, maybe it is a roofing hammer. A roofing hatchet. Hole number 3. It looks like it's a grate to some kind of coal stove, coal furnace. Hole number 4. Hole number 4 looks like a clock hand, but somebody twisted it up. Like somebody purposely twisted this up. Hole number 5. It's a little handle for a push button door latch, I think. Hole number 6, we've got a giant piece of broken iron. What did it take to break that thing? That's insane. Look at that, wow. Yeah. Hole number 7. It's a broken horse harness buckle. And lastly, we have a gear with a flathead screwdriver connected to it. I don't understand what this is. It's probably something that screws into a horseshoe. I don't know. Robert Tyre probably walked down this road probably about 1880, and he came out here to the field in a barn, and he did some work, and he probably reached into his pocket to pull out a tool or something, and he dropped a nickel, and we found it. So it looks like his name was actually Robert Trye, Trye, and I can see on the federal census of 1880 that he was 36 years old, living with his wife Anna, and he had a 5-year-old adopted daughter named Murdy. And get this, the news article that I read said this: a few years ago, Robert Trye of this city adopted in accordance with the law a little girl whose mother was a widow and in destitute circumstances. The mother has married since and resides in Chicago. The other day she visited Mr. Trye's folks for the purpose, she claimed, of seeing the little girl. She asked Mrs. Trye if the little one could accompany her for a walk uptown. Mrs. Trye unfortunately consented, and little Murdy has not been seen by her adopted parents since. Mr. Trye went to Chicago that night and called at the residence of the little girl's mother. Her husband was at home, but knew nothing of the whereabouts of his wife. And so the reason why I think the husband was in on this whole thing was because Murdy's mother gave her up for adoption because she was widowed and she didn't have the resources to take care of a child. But since she was recently married, she now did have those resources. She had food, she had shelter, she had a companion, she had stability, she had everything she needed to raise a child. But by that time it was too late because adoption is a legally binding agreement and you can't have custody of your kid. And so she went to this town and took the kid, probably got on a train to California. And if you think about it, why would you take your kid back because you have the resources and then abandon your husband? You're losing half your resources. It was the husband's job to remain in Chicago and play dumb until the investigation turned into a cold case. And from the looks of it, they successfully pulled this off. And we never heard anything in the newspaper ever again about the incident. If there was more information, it definitely would have been reported. Here we see Robert Trye goes on vacation. Robert Trye falls off the roof of a porch of a house he's working on. Robert Trye goes bear hunting. Robert Trye reads in a church. Robert Trye has a real estate transaction. Robert Trye sells 20,000 bushels of oats that he was storing in a warehouse trying to make money. Anything you did got reported. And because we never heard anything about this, I think they successfully pulled it off.